Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Sadashiva Samadambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmad Gurubhyo Namaha. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Mukti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Muktaye Namaha Sri Medha Dakshinamurti Swamine Namaha. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamrita Varshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvam Bhagavad Gita Bhavatveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutah Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedais Sankapadakramopanishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavastita Dadgatena Manasam Pashyanti Yam Yoginah Yasyantanna Vidhusura Suraganah Devaya Tasmai Namaha. Namaste once again, everyone. So, I think those, just a reminder, those who have not marked the attendance, please do so. Okay, so in the last class, we closed in a very, very tumultuous scene where all the Kauravas were blowing their various instruments, trumpets and drums and all that which they had brought with them to the war. And it was a sort of a, the noise was, tremendous noise was generated. And now the camera focuses on the Pandava side. What did the Pandavas do? Okay. And that is Vyasacharya is explaining in the next sloka. Tata Shvetair Yukte Mahati Syandhane Stitau Madhava Pandavaschaiva Divyau Shankau Pradadmatuhu. The Anvaya is Tataha Shvetaihi Hayaihi Yukte Mahati Syandhane Stitau Madhavaha Pandavaha Cha Eva Divyau Shankau Pradadmatuhu. So this is what is the scenery. Now the camera is focusing on Arjuna's chariot. And what did Arjuna and Krishna do in response to the sound coming from the Kauravas side? Tataha. Tataha means thereafter, then. Shvetaihi hayaihi, by white horses. Yukte, yoked or drawn, you can take the meaning. Mahati Syandhane. Syandhana means the chariot. Mahati, the great chariot, a very big chariot. Stitau, seated. Madhavaha, the name here being given to Krishna, Madhavaha. Pandavaha. Pandavaha is in singular, so it indicates Arjuna. Okay. Eva also. Divyav, celestial, divine. Shankau, conscious. Pradatmatuhu, they sounded, they blew. Okay. So after the Kauravas blew, starting with Bhishma's roar and his blowing of his conch, then all the Kauravas, blew their conches and, made so much noise. Now Krishna and Arjuna, seated in the great chariot drawn by white horses, they also sounded their divine conches. They also blew their divine conches. So now, actually, all this we must remember is narration by Sanjaya to Dhritarashtra. He is actually briefing Dhritarashtra what is going on there in the war, in the battlefield. Okay. So here the Arjuna is being referred to as Pandava, which means Pandu's son. Okay. And the name given to Krishna here is Madhava. Madhava, we have seen the meaning in Vishnu Sahasranama. Madhava means the Lord of Wealth. Ma stands for Lakshmi and Dhava stands for the husband or the Lord. Madhava is the Lord of Lakshmi, Lord of Wealth. So if you look at it throughout the Gita, Lord Krishna has been addressed by different names. Madhava, Rishikesha, Achyuta, Keshava, Janardana, so many names are there. Similarly, Krishna also addresses Arjuna with the different names. So we will see all those names as and when we come across and the meaning of those names also. So here in the scene is Krishna and Arjuna are seated in the magnificent chariot that was drawn by Shvetaihi Hayehi, white horses. White horses is especially very symbolic here. One thing is, of course, in a battlefield with so many different animals, the elephants and horses and all the different colors of horses, white horses can be easily spotted. Okay, they will stand out if they are pure white horses. So it cannot be missed amongst so many other colors of horses. So in response to the war cry of Duryodhana's army, Arjuna and Krishna sounded their own respective conches. And here those conches are described as Divyau, divine. Because they were not got by them in an ordinary way. And their names are given in the next verse. When we go to the next verse, we will see the names of those conscious. And Swami Paramathananda says here, Vyasacharya's, this partiality comes forth. Okay. He says that, when they talked about Duryodhana's side, he made a general statement, everybody sounded their conscious. But when he's talking about Pandavas, he gives the names of the conscious also. Okay. Anyhow, we'll come to that later. So, first Vyasacharya is focusing on the chariot. And what type of horses were there? They were white horses, pure white horses. And when we saw the Ratha Kalpana, which I explained to you from Kathopanishad, these horses represent what? They represent our sense organs. And sense organs are what? They are means of knowledge. We gain all our knowledge through our 5 sense organs, isn't it? And knowledge is represented in the scriptures as white in color. And that is why, even this, there is a Saraswati. Saraswati represents, she is supposed to be wearing white dress, sitting on a white lotus. Everything connected with Saraswati is always white because Saraswati represents knowledge. So knowledge, the symbolism for knowledge is white color. Okay. Ya gundendu dusharahara davala ya shubhra vastra vrita. That sloka, Saraswati sloka, shubhra vastram means white dress. She is wearing a white dress. Then in Tamil also there is a song, I remember, I don't know how many of you know Tamil, Vellai Tamarai Puvil Iruppal. So the one who is seated on a white lotus. That is the description of Saraswati. Okay. So this knowledge is given white color in our tradition. And we will be also seeing later on that this knowledge is represented by Sattva Guna. It will come. What is Sattva Guna and all? Krishna is going to explain everything. And our senses represent that Sattva Guna. Because as those who have attended my Tattva Bodha classes, there we saw that the sense organs are born of Sattva Guna, of the Panchabhutas. Okay. So that also is connected to that. So knowledge basically is Sattva Guna Pradhana, Sattva Guna generated, and it is white in color. And here the white horses, which are a symbolism for the sense organs, are also shown as white. So this is how we have to connect the whole thing. What is the significance of saying Shvetaihi Hayahi? Because Vyasacharya, while writing Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, for that matter, any scriptures, he will not waste a single word. Every word will have a meaning, every word will have something to convey for us to understand. So these horses were white in color. And the chariot is what? Mahati Syandana. It's a grand chariot, big chariot. And this chariot was a special gift to Arjuna from Indra Devata, from the heaven actually. That is why it is so big rather. Okay. And upon the chariot is Titaha, seated, or Krishna and Arjuna. As I said, Krishna is referred to as Madhava. Madhava means the Lord of wealth. But here we have to understand the wealth which is being referred to is the wealth of knowledge, not material wealth. Okay. Because Krishna, being Jagat Guru, is endowed with the wealth of knowledge. And which knowledge he is going to impart to Arjuna very shortly. So that is why, keeping that in mind, he is being addressed here as Madhava. And what did they do? Divyau Shankau Pradatmatuhu. They blew their respective divine conches. And which indicated that now we are also prepared, we are also ready. The Pandava side is ready to begin the war. And these conches, again, they are divine, they are not ordinary conches. And we will see the details of these conches in the next verses. Okay. And in the very next verse, the name of these conches are referred to. Panchajanyam Rishikeshaha Devadattam Dhananjayaha Poundram Dadmau Mahashankam Bhima Karma Vrikodaraha. This is the 25th shloka, sorry, 15th shloka. No, so 15, yeah, 15th shloka. Anvaya is Rishikeshaha Panchajanyam, Dhananjayaha Devadattam, Bhima Karma Vrika Udaraha Poundram Mahashankam Dadmau. This is the Anvaya. We'll first see the word meanings. Rishikeshaha. Again, the name referred to Krishna. Rishikeshaha means the Lord of senses. Lord of all senses. Panchajanyam is the name of Krishna's conch. Panchajanyam. Dhananjayaha is referring to Arjuna. Devadattam is the name of Arjuna's conch. Bhima Karma. Bhima Karma literally means the one who is of terrible deeds. And that is the name being given to Bhima. Because Bhima's deeds are all terrible rather. I mean, he is such a, 8-pack fellow. Right? But eight pack we must not think, because he was a glutton rather. The Mahabharata says he used to eat a lot. But that does not mean that he had a very, flabby stomach and all. If we have eat a little bit itself, our stomach gives problem to us. That's why it is said, Vrika Udaraha. Vrikodaraha means he had a stomach which is like of a wolf. A wolf also is an animal which eats a lot, but it's got a very, very thin stomach. Okay. So Bhima is compared here, Vrikodaraha. Okay. To a wolf, stomach of a wolf. Poundram. Poundram is the name of Bhima's conch. Okay. Mahashankam. And his conch was, Bhima was huge, so obviously his conch was also very huge. Mahashankam. Dadmau. Dadmau means they sounded. They all sounded. So Krishna sounded his conch Panchajanyam. Arjuna sounded Devadattam, his conch. Bhima, the man of terrible deeds. And the one with the stomach of the one who has a stomach which is like that of a wolf, he sounded his huge conch Poundram. That is the name of the conch. So all of these people, this is all the response being given by Pandavas to the Kauravas, the sounds created by Kauravas. So here again the names are given, Panchajanyam. The word Panchajanyam for Krishna's conch has a very interesting Puranic story. As per the Harivamsha Purana, there was an evil Asura called Panchajana. Panchajana. Oh, sorry, Panchajana. His name was Panchajana. Or he is also called Shankasur. That is also the name given to him, Shankasur. Okay. And he lived in a very colossal conch, a big conch in the depth of the ocean. And this Asura, he kidnapped the son of Sandipani, and Sandipani was the guru of Lord Krishna and of many others who learned along with Krishna. And this Shankasur imprisoned that son in his big conch. The conch shell, he imprisoned him. And after the studies and all, because the Sandipani, he was a guru, he couldn't do anything to the Shankasur. So after the studies were over, when the time came for Krishna to give Guru Dakshina to his guru, he asked him, Guruji, what Guru Dakshina you want? He said, you go and slay that Shankasur and get my son back. Because Sandipani knew Krishna's power. If at all anybody could do that, it was only Krishna who could have done that. So Krishna went, fought with that Shankasur and rescued the son, gave him, as Guru Dakshina, gave back the son to Sandipani. And in the process, he brought the conch also along with him. Because the Asura is dead, he doesn't need a home. So the conch, big, huge conch, which was brought, he brought that also with him. And the Guru told him, you keep this conch for yourself. And he gave the name Panchajanyam, that which is born out of Panchajana, Panchajanyam. So that is how Krishna's conch name, it was Panchajanyam. Okay, that's a very interesting story. And it says that whenever Krishna blows that conch, it foreshadows the death of the opponent. That is the speciality of that conch. Krishna will normally not blow this conch. When he blows that conch, it means the opponent is dead. That is the indication for that. Okay. And as I said, Krishna is called here as Rishikesha. Very beautiful and meaningful name, Rishikesha. Rishikam means sense organs. Ishaha means the Lord. We all know that Ishaha means the Lord. So Rishikesha means the Lord of all sense organs, including our mind. And extending the symbolism, Just to see, sitting in the chariot as the charioteer, the horses are controlled by the reins, which is the mind, and those reins are in the hands of Bhagavan. Very great symbolism. If only we understand that symbolism and hand over our mind completely to Bhagavan, the mind which is actually controlling all the sense organs, which is receiving all the knowledge from the external world, if we hand it over to Bhagavan, who is actually the intellect in our buddhi, and our buddhi is where Bhagavan is there for recognition. We have seen Hriddesha and all that, those description. Heart means, the Bhagavan is available, Ishvara is available for recognition in the heart, and heart here means buddhi, intellect. So if we actually understand this entire symbolism and act accordingly, we will be able to manage all our emotions, all our, good things, bad things, because the sense organ do not have any viveka, any discrimination. Anything that they can come into contact, all dharmic, adharmic things will enter our mind. And the mind also does not have, which is an emotional seed, it does not have any power to discriminate what is right and what is wrong, what is dharma, what is adharma. And that is why in the Sanskritic Purusha, the mind, the moment it receives everything, it does not do anything, passes it on to the buddhi. Mind only acts as a conduit to the buddhi, and buddhi, the viveka is sitting in the buddhi. The discriminatory power is sitting in the buddhi. And based on the knowledge, which is all stored in the chittam, the buddhi will recall those knowledge and see whether this particular input which is coming from the mind, from the sense organs, whether that is dharmic or adharmic. And this is the discrimination we have to develop. That viveka, vairagya and all the sadhana chatushtaya sampatti which we have to develop like this only. And in that buddhi is there, Bhagavan is there. So taking the name of Bhagavan, we can develop this intellect, this discriminatory intellect, and viveka we can develop in our life. And we can relegate all these emotional baggage that we carry with us to the background and keep them secondary. All our problems in our life of this samsara is all because of this emotional baggage. That is what we have to understand. Anyway, coming back to the subject rather. So, Rishikesha means the Lord of all our sense organs. As long as we keep the presence of the Lord in everything, we don't need to worry anything about in our life. And Arjuna's conch was called Devadattam. Devena Dattam, Devadattam, given by the Devas. Right? And Arjuna is given here a title as Dhananjaya. Beautiful title again. Dhananjaya means the one who has amassed huge wealth. Dhanam, plenty of wealth he has amassed. Dhanam jayati sarvatra dhanam prapnoti iti Dhananjaya. He has got wealth from all. Arjuna's conquests and the wealth, was a very rich person, Arjuna. Most prosperous person rather. And we must note all these titles because they all reveal the character or the personality of the person being talked about. So even in Mahabharata or even in Gita, Arjuna is portrayed as a very, very wealthy, prosperous and materially successful person. He was very handsome. He was a very valiant fighter, a very strong person. He had name, fame, wealth, everything. And he also had dharma. He understood what was dharma and what was adharma. The whole war was because of that only. Because Arjuna always felt that that kingdom has been taken away by these Shakunis, adharmic cheating in that game of dice, which even resulted in Yudhishthira actually, offering Draupadi also as a what they call when they play these games and all,
Pawn. Pawn.
Pawn.
No, steak. Steak. He plays it as a steak. Yeah.
So Draupadi was put at stake rather, and they lost Draupadi also. I mean, the whole Mahabharata war story is a story of Draupadi's losing that in that game. Everything they lost. So Arjuna felt that it can never be. Yudhishthira actually was known as a very, very good player of that dice game. Yudhishthira was not a novice, was a very great champion. But if he were to be defeated, certainly Arjuna knew that it was Shakuni who actually played some dirty game and made Yudhishthira lose everything. Okay. So he knew dharma also. And for him, it was a dharma versus adharma, the war which was a dharmic war. Rather. Okay. So everything, and even Arjuna went to heaven to help Indra fight a war against the Asuras. That was, it is like people now going to US and all that from India. I'm talking about India, not the US. There's some big post they've got, some big project is there. So they go to the US to head that project. So like that, Arjuna has gone to heaven also, Swarga, and then fought on the side of Indra and make Indra win. That is how he got that Ratham as a gift. All that he had, everything that one can ask for in one's life. But such an Arjuna, in spite of all these material successes, when he finds himself in a crisis, he is not able to solve the problem. Arjuna had everything, but he lacked the Viveka and Vairagya. That is what we see around in our life also. There are people who are materially very well accomplished, highly educated people, knowledgeable people. They are double PhDs and they have made hundreds of PhD students. As they grow old and when they face a crisis in their life, they are not able to handle that crisis. All that they have studied, whether it is science, physics, chemistry, mathematics, whatever they have studied, is of no use when real crisis you face in your life. And Arjuna is the classic example Acharya presents, that you may have all material wealth in your life, everything you may have, but if you do not possess that Viveka, Vairagya, discrimination, if you are not able to manage your own emotions and keep them in check, you will be another Arjuna. We are all Arjunas in our life. Okay. Because if material successes could solve problem, Arjuna should not have any problem at all, and there would not be any Bhagavad Gita at all. So Vyasacharya, through Arjuna's character, wants to highlight the fact that all material successes you human beings you are chasing, it will be in vain when you actually face a serious crisis in your life. For that, the only solution is Atma Jnanam, knowledge of yourself. So, what the message? For all of us, the message is, you can attain material successes, you can work for prosperity, you can work for your family, children, all of them are very good, very necessary also. They may all, help you to lead a very comfortable life. But all these things are not going to help you to solve your deeper inner problem of life, like attachment, dependence, fear, sorrow. All these things are all individual oriented. These material things will not help. These relationships will not help in solving that. That is the message that is being passed. Okay. And this Rishikesha, all these names, Dhananjaya, very significant names. We must understand the meanings of that. And Bhima is described here as Bhima Karma Vrika Udaraha. And Bhima Karma, for Bhima is again a very nice adjective. Bhima means Bhayankara, terrible. Karma means deed or exploits. So it is for Sanskrit students, Bahuvrihi Samasa. Bhimani Bhayankarani Karmani Yasya Saha Bhima Karma. Bahuvrihi. So Bhima is a man of terrible deeds, and his deeds are described in the Mahabharata that he has destroyed so many Rakshasas. And even though he had wonderful weapons with him, there was no need for him to use those weapons. He was so strong that when in a fight, he will just pluck one big tree. And with that tree, he will attack, the opponents. Right? He will uproot one tree and fight. He will pick up mountains and throw it at the opponents. So all these things were all very small things for him. He actually never required anything which was there available. He will make use that as a weapon rather in this fight. So he was able to do the most frightening jobs, both in war and also in peacetime. In fact, there is a story in Mahabharata. There was one Asura who attacked the kingdom of a king, where these people were taking refuge, the Pandavas, during their exile. And then Asura had actually put a condition that every day they have to send one cart load of food along with the driver, and that Asura will eat the driver, and that cart load of food also he will eat. As long as that continues every day, he will not trouble that people of that kingdom. So this was going on, and when the Pandavas were in exile, they came to know about this. So Bhima said, I will go next day. I will go in the cart taking all the food for that Asura. So he went, and Asura saw, okay, a very big man is coming. Today I will have more than enough to eat and all that. And as usual, Bhima went, fought with that Asura, killed him. Okay. So he is such a terrible guy, I mean, so many stories are there about Bhima's terrible, deeds. And in fact, he was actually employed as a cook during that last year of that their Ajnanavasa, that is their where they had to live 1 year of living incognito. Okay. And he was an expert in cooking also. Not only in fighting, he was expert in cooking also. And his cooking was all huge quantities he will cook rather. One whole pumpkin he will just pick and put. He will not cut the pumpkin and all that. That is Bhima's, so many stories are there. So, and he used to eat a lot. And so people may think that, because he was eating a lot, he must be having diabetes, blood pressure, very flabby body. He must be obese from the latest standards of obesity, huge stomach and everything that goes with it. Okay. However, that was not the case. He did not resemble, Puja Swamiji says, he does not resemble a sumo wrestler at all. When we talk of Bhima, we should not think of sumo wrestler. He was not at all like that. So here, that is why to clarify it, he says Vrikodaraha. one whose stomach is like that of a wolf. Vrikaha means wolf. Okay, udaraha means stomach. So vrikasya udaram iva yasya udaraha saha vrikodaraha. Okay. So Bhima is described as one who has got a stomach like a wolf. So it is so hollowed out that it almost touched his spine rather. That was the kind of stomach Bhima had in spite of so much of eating rather. And Pujya Swamiji again says probably this is where the expression, English expression to keep the wolf away from the door came. Because the wolf, if you let it inside the door, it will finish everything that is there in your house. And this is actually a good example of what is meant by a Lakshana. So here the implied meaning of the word wolf means hunger. So although the wolf is always hungry and eats a lot, its stomach remains the same, ever trim. Therefore, by this description, we understand that Bhima was a huge man with a stomach like that of a wolf. And he had large lungs also, because being a huge person, right? So that is why he had tremendous power to blow a huge conch. Otherwise, if we take a small conch and try to blow it, it will be, we can understand, those who have tried it will know the difficulty in that. But he could blow a huge conch. Pound drum was the name of his conch. So they all blew their respective conches. And Pandava, other three Pandava, Yudhishthira, Nakula are also mentioned in the next verse. Okay. Because Krishna's conch has been given name. Bhima's conch name is given. Then Arjuna's conch name is given. So Acharya cannot be partial. Here also he will cover all the 5 Pandavas, including Krishna. So I will read the next verse. Ananta Vijayam Raja Kunti Putro Yudhishthiraha Nakula Sahadevascha Sughoshamani Pushpakau. Simple Anvaya. Kunti Putraha Raja Yudhishthiraha Ananta Vijayam Nakulaha Sahadevaha cha Sughosha Mani Pushpakau. We can add Dadmau. Bring it from the previous verse. They also blew. So Kunti Putraha, son of Kunti, Raja Yudhishthiraha, King Yudhishthira, Ananta Vijayam. This is the name of Yudhishthira's conch, Ananta Vijayam. Nakulaha Sahadevacha, Nakula and Sahadeva, Sughosha Mani Pushpakau, Sughosha and Mani Pushpaka. These are the names of Nakulas and Sahadeva's conches respectively. Okay. So Yudhishthira, son of Kunti, King Yudhishthira, he blew Ananta Vijayam, his conch. Nakula and Sahadeva blew Sughosha and also Mani Pushpaka respectively. So the name of Yudhishthira, original name was Dharmaputra, because he was born to Kunti and Yamadharma Raja. I don't want to get into the story of how the 5 children are born to different devatas. Okay. And Yudhishthira is the title given to him. It is not his name. The derivation of the name Yudhishthira is very significant. Yudhihi means battle. Sthiraha means steadfast. So the title Yudhishthira is one who is steadfast in a battle, in a warfare, powerful in a warfare, in a battle. He does not go back. He does not run away from the battle at all. Therefore, he is given the title Yudhihi Sthiraha Yudhishthiraha. Okay. And see the beauty here. Even though Sanjaya, who is narrating all these things to Dhritarashtra, knew that Yudhishthira is no longer the king, still he refers him to as the king. Raja Yudhishthira, he says. This is because in Sanjaya's mind also, even though Duryodhana was the de facto ruler and this Dhritarashtra was sitting on the throne, Yudhishthira was the real king, albeit in exile. We have got these days also a lot of presidents in exile and all that. So Sanjaya always considered Yudhishthira to be the king, the rightful owner of the throne of Hastinapur. And he never agreed to this war. Sanjaya always told Dhritarashtra, being his minister, being very close to him, he advised Dhritarashtra rightly, this is what you have done is wrong. You must not do this. This is adharma. And he also told that because of Duryodhana's problem, he is making a very big mistake. This is going to lead to a lot of unpleasant consequences. All this Sanjaya has been telling Dhritarashtra. But Dhritarashtra was not only physically blind, but also intellectually blind. Nothing went into his head. Even when Krishna went and pleaded with Yudhishthira, this Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana, it was of no avail. Okay, and that is why unless the recipient has an open mind to receive any advice, we must be very, very careful not to give unsolicited advice to anybody. It will be a waste. Many people will come and tell us. I mean, I have that experience. Somebody is not behaving properly or doing something, they will come and say, why don't you advise him? He doesn't listen to us, he may listen to you. So my first question is, if he doesn't listen to you, why should he listen to me? There is no point, right? But still they insist. Then just because they insist, I advise the people. Actually, I put a condition. I said, I will not advise anybody unless they ask for the advice. So what these people do, they go to that person and tell him, you go and talk to him and seek his advice. So that fellow will come to me. I will very well knowing that my advice, whatever I tell him is going to fall on deaf ears, I will tell him whatever I need to tell. And later on, I will find that that fellow has not followed anybody's advice, including my advice. He has done what he feels is right. So that is why when giving advice also, one needs to be very, very careful. Give advice only if they come and ask you seriously for an advice. What should I do? And you must first gauge whether what the words that you are going to spend on that person is worth spending on that person. So these days everybody becomes free advice they will give. Anyhow, that is the message here, that Sanjaya is still calling Yudhishthira as Raja Yudhishthira. Okay. So Ananta Vijayam. So that's why Yudhishthira's conch is named Ananta Vijayam, because it has seen numerous victories, endless. I mean, any war Yudhishthira went, he was always victorious. Ever successful. So with that, it is never defeated. That the conch is a symbolism of Yudhishthira's, ever success in all wars. And Nakula's conch was called Sughosha, meaning that which produces a pleasant sound. Sughosha. Mani Pushpaka, that which is decorated with precious gems, was the name given to Sahadeva's conch. They don't have much story behind these conches rather. Okay. And as I said, we have to supply the verb dadmau. They blew. Okay. So the next two verses, we will take it together. 17 and 18. Okay. Kashyascha parameshvasaha shikandi cha maharataha Drishtadhyumno viratascha satyakischa parajitaha Drupado draupadeyascha sarvasha prithivipate Saubhadrascha mahabahu shankhan dadmuf pritak pritak. So the Anvaya is, Hey Prithvipate, Parama Ishu Asaha Kashyaha cha Maharatah Shigandi cha Drishtadhyumnah Viratah cha Aparajitah Satyakihi cha Drupadah Draupadeyah cha Mahabahu Saubhadrah cha Pritak Pritak Sarvashah Shankan Dadmuhu. This is the Anvaya. So here again Sanjaya is addressing Dhritarashtra. Hey Prithvi Pate, O king, O the the lord of the earth. Prithvi Pate means literally lord of the earth, but the king. Kashyaha, the king of Kashi. Parameshu Asaha, who is an expert wielder of a powerful bow. We have already seen Parameshwasa word in one of the earlier slokas. Cha means end. The cha comes every time, because and is Shikhandi. Shikhandi, who is a Maharatha, man of great valor. We have seen that also earlier. Cha and Drishtadhyumna. Drishtadhyumna was the commander-in-chief of Pandava's army. Then Virata, the king of Virata. Cha and Aparajita. Aparajita is unsurpassed, never defeated, undefeated. Satyakihi, Satyaki cha. All these names we have seen earlier. Okay. Drupadaha, King Drupada. Draupadeyaha, the son of Draupadi. Cha. Mahabahu, the mighty armed. Saubhadra, son of Subhadra, Abhimanyu. Cha. Pritak, Pritak, separately, distinctly. Sarvashaha, from all directions. Shankan Dadmuhu, blew their conches. So he is saying, O king, the king of Kashi, who is the wielder of a big bow, Shikhandi, the great warrior, Drishtadhyumna, the king of Virata, the undefeated Satyaki, King Drupada, sons of Draupadi, Drupadeyasya, and mighty Abhimanyu, the son of Subhadra. They all blew their conches separately and distinctly from all directions, but they were all spread. This king of Kashi was a very, very powerful and was a great archer. As I said, we have already seen the meaning of Parameshwasa. He blew his conch. And many of you may know the story of Shikhandi himself, who was actually specially born and had taken a vow to destroy Bhishma. And he succeeded in that also in Mahabharata war, thanks to Krishna. And he was a Maharatha. He was not an ordinary warrior. He was a Maharatha. Great archer. He also blew his conch. Drishtadhyumna blew his conch. King of Virata, the ever successful Satyaki. King Drupada, Draupadi's father, and Draupadi's brothers, Draupadi's children rather, the sons of Draupadi, because Draupadi had 5 sons, one from each Pandava. Okay, they all blew their respective conches. Abhimanyu was not Draupadi's son; he was Subhadra's son. That you must remember. So they are called this. All 5 sons of Draupadi are called Drupadeyaha here. Okay. And they were also very great warriors, very well trained. And as I said, Abhimanyu is referred to here as Subhadra's son. And he was also very well known for his heroism. And he was given the special title Mahabahu, man of mighty powerful arms, which is a description of Abhimanyu's valor. And it's not the description of his biceps, the size of the biceps. Okay. So together, all these warriors blew their conches. And what kind of a sound they produced is described in the next verse. Saghosho dhartra rashtrana hridayani vyadharayat nabascha prithivim chaiva tumulo vyanunadhayan. Anvaya is Saha Tumulaha Ghoshaha Nabah cha prithvim cha eva vyanunadhayan dharta rashtranam hridayani vyadharayat. Okay. Word meaning is saha, that sound. Tumulaha, tumultuous. Ghoshaha, sound or noise. Nabaha means sky. Cha prithvim, prithvi means the earth. Eva, indeed. Vyanunadayan, reverberating, resounding throughout. So the sound which all these people made was reverberating, echoing throughout between the earth and the sky. Okay. Dhartarashtranam, the son of Dhritarashtra, Hridayani, their hearts, Yadharayat, pierced. So this sound which the Pandava side made, it was so tumultuous and noisy that it pierced the heart of the opposite camp, the Kauravas, the Dhartarashtra, sons of Dhritarashtra. Okay. So this sound made Pandavas in response to that made by the Duryodhana's army was so tremendous that it pierced the very hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. And this simultaneous sound which reverberated and echoed wave after wave, bouncing from earth to sky and back again, it shows the magnificence of the Pandavas' war cry pervaded the entire atmosphere, creating panic in the opposite side. And again here Sanjaya is driving home the point to Dhritarashtra. Your sons are no match for these Pandavas. All this is Sanjaya is telling him. It pierced their heart. They were trembling hearing this sound. If sound itself is trembling, you can imagine what their arrows are going to do to them. So this verse is a further indication that already Duryodhana was little bit afraid. He was frightened, and that is why all the talk he had, with Dronacharya. Now this confirms that, actually they saw Pandava's side to be more powerful, even though they were less in number, and his fear increased. And why this fear increased? Because in the heart of the heart, Duryodhana knew that he was doing adharma. And this is the beauty of dharma and adharma. When we are on the dharma's side, our mind will be very clear. We will stand by the truth, come what may. But when we know that we are doing an adharmic act, there will always be something inside us pricking us. It will create all sorts of fear. The biggest fear a person who lies has is that my lie should not be caught. Isn't it? Everybody who lies and who knows he is lying, his only fear is that he should not be caught. Because he has lied to escape something, and if his lie is caught, then he will be subject to whatever he tried to escape. Whereas a person who always tells the truth, he did not have any worry at all. And he also believes Satyameva Jayate, the truth will ultimately triumph. We have the strong, unshaken belief. Stick to truth. That's what is important. So that completes the scenario there. Now, the camera again turns to the scene of war. Okay. I will read the next sloka, 20th sloka. Atha vyavastitan drishtva Dhartra rashtra'n kapidvajaha Pravrite shastra sampate Dhanurudhyamya pandavaha Rishikesham tada vakyam idamaha mahipate. The Anvaya for this sloka is Atha Kapidvajaha Pandavaha Dhartrarashtran Vyavastitan Drishtva Shastra Sampate Pravritte. You can add Sati to complete the sentence. Dhanu Udyamya He Mahapate Tada Idam Vakyam Rishikesham Aha. I will tell you the word meanings and the explanation. Probably we'll have to take it up in the next class because time is almost over. He Mahipate, O King. Atha, thereafter, then, at that moment. Kapidvajaha Pandavaha. Arjuna, who has got the image of a monkey, which is actually Hanuman, as a banner on his flag. Dhartrarashtra, the Kauravas, Vyavastitan, standing, assembled, were all arrayed in the opposite camp. Shastra Sampate, ready for the use of their weapons and discharge of arrows. Pravritte was about to begin. Dhanu Udhyamya, having raised his bow. Bow should be left hand, correct? And arrow should be right hand. So Arjuna raised his bow. Having seen the whole scene is there, the war is just about to start. Both the teams have blown their conches, everything, and announced their readiness to go into the war. At that stage, Arjuna saw that big crowd on the opposite side and he raised his bow. Okay. And said the following words. Tada, then. Idam vakyam, this sentence or these words. Rishikesham, to Rishikesha, to Krishna. Aha, he spoke. What words he spoke and what was the intention of Arjuna in raising his bow, all that we will see in the next class. Okay. Om Purnamadav Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you all.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste.
Thank you,
You could
Mama.
join late.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Namaskaram.
Namaskaram.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you.
Hari Om, Guruji.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Guruji.
Hari
Namaskaram.
Om, Hari Om, Guruji. Namaskaram.
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 Namaskaram, Guruji.
Namaskaram. Yeah.
Guruji, only this shloka, how come it's in 3 lines?
See, what has happened is the next line of the shloka will come along with the next one. Because for the purpose of explanation, we have to split the shloka so that, from a Bhagavad Gita point of view, they are all in couplets, 2 to 1. But when we have to say that this is one action, see Arjuna seeing the opposite side, raising his bow and speaking to Krishna. This is one action. So what Arjuna said to Krishna is the second line of the second sloka. You understand what I'm saying? The narration in Bhagavad Gita, the couplets which have been done, they are as per metrics. Right? Because of the Chandas cues. You cannot have a third line from a metrical point of view, metrical composition point of view. But when we are explaining, when it is being explained, we have to bring all the ideas together and explain. So that is why we split. Even Swamiji Parmathananda also splits these slokas like this. And I also found that some cases it can be explained in a different way. So I have differed from what Parmathananda follows. But where I have found that they make sense, reading it together, that's why I put it together.
And no, Guruji, the book also is the same.
Sorry?
In the Bhagavad Gita book,
Ah.
also it's the same, that
I
third
don't
line,
know. I will have to check
the first panthi of the next one. Yeah, I think as you said, it's for the meaning to,
Yeah.
for the meaning
So
to come.
it was like that. I will check the book rather. So
Yeah, only this and the next sloka, there are 3 lines, and then
yeah.
again back to 2 lines.
Back to two sloka. That's why I said, the idea is when explaining, put the ideas together. So then it becomes easier to
Make it
explain.
more meaningful.
More meaningful. That's all.
Thank you,
Ultimately,
Guruji.
we have to understand each word, the meaning of each word. It doesn't matter how we do it. Isn't it? Anyway. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hari Om.
Thank you, Guruji. Namaskaram.
Thank you. Okay, any other question or any comments? Or shall we close the session?
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you. Hari Om. Thank you.
Hari Om.
We'll see you next Saturday. Hari Om.